this one right here is my first funnel. And so when we market these, we often tell people it's kind of like a 4-step process, right? But there's just so much more to it, but you want to make it as simple for your client as possible. First is lead generation, right? So organically, you could get traffic from Facebook, Instagram, and honestly, this process actually works on LinkedIn as well, or you could do paid traffic, right? And all of your ad is leading somebody to an opt-in page, right? And when they opt in, when I first started, all they got was a video, right? And they subscribed to my email list, right? And the goal is for them to actually watch this video. So my first lead magnet video was 12 minutes. My second one was like 30 minutes, right? And sometimes people, even though they give you their name and email address, they still don't watch the video. And that's why it's so important to capture their email address and send it to them in their email as well, because sometimes they just see your ad, they click on, they get on, they're just like, darn it, this is a 30-minute video. I got to go into a meeting. I got to go pick up my kids. So they always have something to do. So you always want to email, follow them up, right? And at the time when I first launched, I wasn't collecting names and phone numbers. So now that I have names and phone numbers, plus the Facebook group, I have 3 channels that I can follow up with people on. Generally, the way you want it to work is after they watch your lead magnet video, like you've one, hit on their core desires. 2, you've made them realize like you're the person that can actually help them, which 3 would make them want to kind of like submit an application, a book a call, speak with you. And then from there, you go to a thank you page. And this is just the page that kind of like tells them, thank you so much for scheduling a call. You can put like a video or instructions on what to expect from the call. You have a meeting, and then boom, somebody buys from you. Isn't that a perfect world?
Yep.
Right. So this is how the process really is, right? Once I did that process, it didn't really work for me. And I kind of like switched to this process as well, right? At this point, I really didn't know how to do the organic thing. So I was just hoping the call to actions and all of that other stuff would actually work on my posts. So sometimes I do call to actions and nobody would click the link in the bio. Nobody would comment DM and stuff like that. And that really sucked. And after that, I was just like, all right, cool. I need to figure out how to start conversations with people that I don't know without being salesy, slimy, or sleazy and stuff like that, right? And so because at this point, like I was just marketing and selling to my friends and family. And the way I connected with them is either I had their phone number or I had their social media account. And then right here, once I went to this, I was still running ads, right? And then now on Facebook and Instagram, now I'm connecting with people that didn't really know me, and I know how to build rapport and start a conversation to find out if I could really help them. And this is a simple 4-step process. They opt in, right? Thank you page, redirect to the Facebook group. You got some membership questions that further qualify them. And then from there, you engage the contact. And most of you guys at this point may know about my 12-step conversation framework, where the first half of the steps, you're kind of like really just qualifying them and you give them some value. And then from there, you book a call to meet with them, request some additional information. You have a discovery call first, and then a sales call afterwards, right? This discovery call is like 15 minutes, and then the enrollment call is after that. Before, say I was just running an email. How many of you guys check all of your emails on a daily basis?
No.
How many of you guys got emails that's going to your spam folder?
Yes.
And so when you just collect email, that's all that happens, right? And that's a way that you could deliver value. But now you have bounce rates and you got people that's not opening your emails. And mind you, I was paying for people to get on my email list, and it's just like they weren't opening the emails. Imagine the frustration. What the Facebook group does is, hey, here's a different place where I know you are on a constant basis where you can go and receive value. So now I'm giving you value in your emails and on your Facebook group, and now I'm tailored to your preferences. You like emails, you open the emails. If you like Facebook, you go join the Facebook group. And now you're also a part of a community of other people that are also interested in what you're interested in too. So before, if it was just the email, you were just on alone silo. But now you're in a Facebook group, you see there's other people that are interested in what you have to do. And this is how I have the opportunity to do these live sessions. And some people show up live, or some people just watch the replay. And so what I've shared with people in the past, so I'm about to show you guys how complex the system actually really is. So I took the time to map this entire thing out a little bit earlier today. The way it really works is you have Facebook or Instagram, and of course this will work on LinkedIn. First, you're supposed to engage the prospect. And then of course you have the first part of the 12-step conversation framework, which leads to you capturing their email address, phone number, and the opt-in. And then from there, they're supposed to download an incredible free gift plus an explainer video. And that free gift could either be your guys' free courses that I recommend you guys do. It's a video, or it could be an ebook. right? That's literally explaining your entire process, how you're going to get them from A to Z. So if they find super value, especially if this is a stranger, like you haven't asked them to book a call yet, you're just giving them something that you believe that they'll value based on the first part of the conversation framework. And then from there, you continue, and the goal there is to be able to book a call with them. And once you book a call, and they schedule a call, then there's supposed to be an expectations video where you're actually mapping out to them what they're supposed to expect from the call, right? And one of the most important reasons why you want to have this call is kind of like remind them, especially if you're doing organic, that, hey, I'm not trying to sell you anything on this call. Like, all I'm trying to do is get clear on where you're at, what your goals are, what problems you're having, why the problem is a problem, what you try to solve in the past. And once we get clarity there, if you want to keep talking to me, then we can schedule another appointment, right? And what's important is when it comes to sequences, when somebody schedules a call, there's some automated sequences that also go out via text message or email to remind them 24 or 48 hours in advance that they actually have the call, right?
Well, this isn't Miro. This is an actual like funnel framework building thing.
Well, what was the question?
What are these images on this platform?
Oh, it's Funnelytics is the name of the website.
Analytics. Got you. It looks very much like Miro. Okay, so
It looks
this
very
is
much like,
it's another app called Miro. It's like a board. You can
okay.
create stuff.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So that's where the automated sequences come in, and this happens through, you can use Calendly and stuff to do that, right? And then at that point, you actually have the clarity call. And then from the clarity call, the goal is 70% of people generally from the clarity call would be open to having an additional call with you. And that's when you schedule them for the enrollment call. And this is where you're actually going to, what's it called? Pitch them on your actual service. But before that, what's it called? I call this the power positioning video. Me and Catherine was having a conversation about this Monday. She was just like, hey, I'm getting these discovery calls booked. And when they get to the sales call, we booked the sales call. And before the sales call, they're like, hey, I want to consume more of your free stuff. Or, hey, I'm not ready to have this conversation. Or they get on the sales call and they're not ready to move forward. And that's where this power positioning video plus homework comes in. And all of that is designed to kind of like pre-frame them and let them know a little bit more about your program and answer frequently asked questions before they get on the call with you. Plus, you could kind of like give them some homework to do in advance to keep them engaged with the process. So now they don't make up their own homework. Does that make sense?
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Because as they're going through the homework, they can actually find out how much more they actually need you.
Exactly. You're priming them, you're getting them to see everything that actually goes into kind of like working with you. So before, when I first started, I had them listen. I actually used to have people read a PDF and listen to some, what's it called, Bob Proctor or Earl Nightingale. From there, I had them kind of like write out their goals and write out some affirmations. And now, what I would put on now, my power positioning video is just like a 45-minute video explaining my program. Plus, I have a PDF that explains everything in a little bit more detail, right? And I don't give homework at this point because whatever I would have gave as homework, I actually do on the discovery call with them, which sometimes stretches my discovery call from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, sir.
And then from there, you have their enrollment call, right? And their enrollment call is the actual sales call. And two things can happen: either to show up, right? If they show up, if they don't show up, you try to book them again, right? For whatever reason, they kind of like didn't show up. Either you text them, like I recommend, or email them in advance, and you ask them the question like, hey, is this still a good time for you? And they'd be like, no. And therefore, when is a good time, you book another good time. Or some people would totally just ghost you and you still reach out to them to see like what happened, and they just might disappear. But what's good about that, they're in your email list now, so they're still going to be hearing from you on a consistent basis. Plus, they're on your Facebook page. Plus, they're following you on the social media. So that's the plus about having this whole thing built out entirely. Make sense?
Yes.
So the other thing that could happen if they don't show, if they do show up, is the question if they're a good fit, right? And a good fit is they have a problem you can solve, and they wouldn't be on this call if they weren't kind of like a good fit. But what would disqualify them at this point as a good fit for these purposes would be like, yo, they don't have the money, they're kind of uncertain, or now is not the right time to get started for them, right? And at this time, we'll say they're a bad fit. And if they're a bad fit, which means they're not ready to start right now, that doesn't mean they're not going to start later. You just send them some additional free resources. Did they enroll? If yes, you on board. If no, you can start the follow-up process as well. And sometimes, what's it called? You can also send a personalized video killing their biggest concerns and objections as well. Because at this point, if you follow our sales process and our sales script to a T, you get to that bottom point of it where you temperature check. And when you temperature check, like scale of 1 to 10, like how serious are you about getting started? Anything below a 5, they're not ready to get started right now. They might not be a good fit. If they from a 5 to like a 7, it's just like, yo, they want to do it, but there's some objection that they haven't been able to articulate, and you help them articulate it. And if they had like a 10, ideally they're going to get started. But if they're in that 5 to 7 range, you send them a personalized video afterwards, kind of like addressing their main concerns and how you can help them overcome it. Right. And then from there, you have the follow-up call. Ideally, they enrolled in and you onboard them. Right. If not, you have a long-term follow-up sequence, which is just a series of emails where you just consistently add value to your list. So that's the entire process right there.